I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes for the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now. We can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time.
What the man you will fight for? Just everything you got today, not because of the scoreboard, but because when this game ends, you'll have a brother to call for life. Knowing you gave everything you had. And I'm gonna make the play or I'm gonna watch the play be made. It's simple. Fight your fight. It's our fight to fight.
Fight your fight. It's Friday, 2 days before the Super Bowl. This is Sports Talk 49, live on NSN Florida on the Variety Sports Network. I'm Blake Anthony. This is my show. So our lineup today is Super Bowl 55. I call it Super Bowl Derrick Brooks. 55. Listen to Tom Brady's interview, Super Bowl Media Press, Buccaneers.com. Of course, my winning angle, Madden 21 Super Bowl predictions. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about Patriots after Chris Godwin supposedly offering a $78 million contract. We'll ask our two guests today, Al Keck and Ron Butler, and see what they got to say about that. But of course, follow me on all my social media feeds at Blake Anthony 49. You ask me any kind of questions or anything, I'll try to get answers to the best that I can, or at least find them, because I got some resources that I can try to find some of the information that you need to know. And if I don't know, I'll just tell you I don't know. So I appreciate all you guys jumping on here, watching the stream early in the morning. Want to get this out the way? Well, I ain't gonna say early, 11:35. A lot of you guys are at work, doing what you're doing, getting 3 days going, getting right for the weekend. Some people celebrating birthdays on the weekend. Who knows what's going on? All I know is it's going to be insane coming out there Sunday for the Super Bowl right here in Tampa. First team to host and play in the Super Bowl in their hometown stadium. No cannons will be firing. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that. No cannons being fired. I don't know what you guys feel about that. You think that's fair? You think that's an unbiased opinion that some cannons will fire and some cannons won't fire? So, I mean, I assume that they will do it in the pregame. I got a connection. My buddy works in the audio, the video effects in the stadium for the Super Bowl, and I'll hear what he's got to say about it, and I'll get to you guys with some of that information to see what exactly is going to happen on entertainment-wise into the stadium. My buddy Carl, so he should be able to let me know, because he's the one that controls everything. If you've ever been to Raymond James and all that video effects and all that going to the stadium, that is him. Also works for the Threshers as well in the off season. But let's go on to Tom Brady's comments. I think it's kind of cool what he's got to say. He gets interviewed by a sweet child, and then just hear his preparations coming to the game and things like that. Of course, you guys comment. I'll comment back with you, and just put those in there, and we'll see. We'll just go from there. So, all right. So y'all check it out, and here goes Tom Brady.
I think just being grateful for all the blessings in my life, and I've got more than anyone could imagine. So in the end, I just try to do the best I could do, with every situation. And you understand there's a lot of people that have supported me over the time to get to this point. So I think any time you get a chance to realize your dreams, and I've been, between high school, college, pro football, doing this for almost 30 years. Just so appreciative of all the different people who have helped me along the way. Just so grateful for all the experiences that I had, and hopefully that I can, in my own way, give back as best I can to other people who may be looking to achieve and accomplish their dreams too. So it's a big picture approach. At different times in my life, I haven't had the perspective that I've had. I have a lot of perspective now just on this career. I wouldn't say on life. I think that I still learning from a lot of people who have more perspective on life. But from a football standpoint, I think a lot of it for me is trying to give younger players the information they need to be the best they could be. So in the end, I'm just, again, just very grateful, very appreciative. And, that's pretty much how I feel on a daily basis. And you know what? He's super excited because, he feels so good. He's played 20 games this year. So it's the most I think he's ever played in his career. So, he's one of the most unique people, as you know, just being around him. He's so positive. I think everybody wishes in their next life they come back as Rob, just because he's got such a great personality about him, just his way of being positive, and he's a real high achiever. He's very competitive, and I see the competitive nature, the determination. Like if you're, when you're down and out, you want him with you. And I think that speaks to him as a teammate, as a person. And I love playing with him. I've known him for a long time, and I'm just so proud of all his accomplishments. He's an amazing guy. And, I know for both of us, we rely on each other a lot for different things. And, I'll be looking for him this Sunday. So that's the most important thing.
We're going to go to Play 60 Kid, Amia Brannon.
Hey, Tom, I'm Amaya. How are you?
Hi, Amaya.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you, too. So I'm 10 years old and around the same age as your kids. They've cheered for you in almost every Super Bowl you've been in. Do you have any family traditions about the big game, and how will you celebrate if you win?
Wow. So how will I celebrate if I win? I'll be surrounded by my kids who are your age. So that's the best part about winning, is having the people that have helped you get there and support you there with you to enjoy it. So some of the best memories I've had in my life were being with my kids right after the Super Bowl and celebrating with them. So I hope we have that experience on Sunday. It's going to be a really tough game, so we're going to have to go earn it. But if we get the job done, that's exactly what I'll be doing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Amaya.
You're welcome.
Probably get in about 6:15 or so. So pretty early. I think some of them beat me in. So I think everyone's in here to try to get as much preparation as we can. There's a lot to study. It's a tough team to prepare for, because they're very talented. They have a lot of great things that they do on defense that really challenge you. So, it's been a lot of preparation. This whole time it's been really hardcore prep. And now we ultimately have to be confident what we're doing and go out there and get the job done.
We're going to go over to Susie Colbert.
I know that name.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Susie. Yeah, it's just it's a slow build, I think, for this game, because it's 2 weeks of prep. You feel like the physical stuff's, pretty much done at this point. And then at this point, it's just going through in your head different situation scenarios, all your different calls that you'd have, just trying to think about how they're going to play us. And then, again, I think that's where the mental prep, you really can't leave any stone unturned at this point. So we've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just over 3 days left in the season. So 72 hours plus, and you got to use it all and use it to the maximum, because this is a game that's really going to challenge us. This team is a very tough team to beat. They haven't been beaten in a long time. Got a great offense, got a great defense, really well coached, very good on special teams. So just try to chill on Sunday, get your body, mentally, physically be in a good place to go out there and compete and get ready for a great game. So it's a long game. It's a hard game. It's a long day, but you got to be ready when the ball's kicked off, and we're going to be challenged. They're going to challenge us, and we got to go answer the challenge. It feels good to do that, just because you get kind of behind the down and distance on first, second down, that leaves you in third and long, and then you're able to bail yourself out of that situation. So it's a hard thing to do. I wouldn't try to make all day long, trying to stay in third and long and see if we could, make a bunch of plays, because that's not, it's very low percentage football. So we're going to have to play well on early downs, keep our third down manageable, eliminate negative plays, eliminate negative runs, sacks, penalties. All those things are really important. It's got to be a really clean football game, because you get stuck behind the down and distance. These guys do a great job getting you off the field. So it's I think every play, we're going to have maximum concentration. There's probably 70 plays left in the season. So all of them are going to have to be our very best. I haven't thought about that much. Yeah, you'd obviously love to get off to a fast start. Hard to explain why or why not that hasn't happened. I'm sure there are all a lot of individual things why that's happened or not. So I don't know. I think ultimately for us this week, it's about, taking every play, understanding what we're trying to execute on a given play, and then go make it happen. So, the one thing about this game, you're playing the other best team in the league. So there's not a lot of margin of error. If you do anything that's unsound, it's not going to work. So the execution has to be at your best. And, it should be that way. That's the way this game should be played. It should be the highest level of execution. And because it's the most time to prepare, concentration, focus. You got to lay it on the line and try to make the plays when we got them to, when they're there to be made, we got to make them. Wow. Probably similar to when I was 39. I'd say pretty similar. I think throwing the ball, agility-wise. I'm going to work on my speed this offseason, try to get my speed up a little bit. I see all these guys running around. I got to make a few of those plays. So I got to, I've already started thinking about kind of how I'm going to train. So I'd say that's the one thing that I want to always keep working on, and continue to throw the ball well, be in good position to throw the ball accurately, continue to be a student of the game. And, I think that's how you can continue to, make improvements. You can't ever think that you're satisfied. You got to continue to build and grow and learn and evolve. And some things are, going to challenge you, but you got to fight through those things. And, from my standpoint, there's always room for improvement. Jason kind of gave you all the details. So, I didn't want to come in here and, I know numbers are, for some people mean a lot. And Chris was so cool about it. So in the end, I spoke to Chris, and he was, he was amazing. So I've just loved my experience with Chris, and, he's a stud no matter what number he's wearing, 12, 14, he's a baller. So he could wear any number and be great. And I was just very appreciative that he allowed me to use it.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks, Tom.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
No, we appreciate you, Tom Brady. Yeah, imagine that. Tom Brady, if he had been wearing the number 7 instead of 12, that would have been interesting, that if he did not wear number 12 and would have been wearing number 7 coming out into the 2020 season, 2021 season. That would have been really interesting to look at. But he says a lot of things that are important, a lot of the small minor details, like not getting behind and down in distance, staying ahead and not getting dumb penalties. And that's going to be really key in this game. One thing Mahomes has that Tom Brady doesn't have is the ability to extend plays with his legs. Tom can shuffle around in the pocket and do all those things. But Mahomes is a little more fleet of foot and can do that. So, we're getting Vita Vea back. Vita Vea is really important as far as crushing the pocket and things like that. But it's going to be really important for Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul to get on those edges and secure those edges, because those guys in the interior aren't going to be able to run down Patrick Mahomes, and hopefully they can force him to turn over the ball, throw some picks, get their hands on him and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes in that game. If you're just tuning in, this is Sports Talk 49 live on NSN Florida. I'm Blake Anthony. This is my show. Shows are usually Monday and Fridays at 3 p.m. They're subject to change now with the Super Bowl being the last game. I will be in attendance in the Super Bowl, at the Super Bowl. So look forward to seeing some videos and things like that of what's going on around there. So I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as possible. You can follow me on all my social medias at Blake Anthony 49. Like I said, I'll comment back. It's fun. It's fun going back and forth with different opinions and things like that, because it's always I encourage difference of opinions because it makes me look at things differently. At least I'm a guy that doesn't think I know everything. I try to learn as much as I can, from anybody and everybody that I can, especially when it comes in different topics. All right, so moving on. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about Super Bowl predictions? What do you got as far as score? What do you guys think as what's going to happen in this game? What's going to be a key factor in the game and things like that? What do you guys think? With that being said, again, I'm going to have on Al Keck. He'll let you know what he's got going on for the Super Bowl and things like that over 102.5 The Bone. And hear from Ron Butler, going to give his predictions to the game and shed you some light on the Patriots going after Chris Godwin. Let you know what's going on with that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that situation because I know a lot of Buccaneers fans and, people are looking at a lot of these free agents that are coming off of this team after this season with the contract issues going on and things like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the future. So Ryan, you got 38-31. Chiefs. Mahomes takes the torch from Brady. A lot of people like to throw that around now. Ryan, the GOAT thing. I'd be like, geez, we just throw the word GOAT out there. All willy-nilly now for everything. I mean, essentially, Mahomes is on the same path as Russell Wilson right now. Remember, Russ had won Super Bowl and then came back again and ended up losing to the Patriots when they could have won back-to-back over the controversial slant pass that was intercepted by Malcolm Butler. So many stories changed on just that alone. It's just so crazy. Yeah, I know, baby goat. That's what I'm saying. That's what they call him in training. We should say in training, Ryan. Baby goat in training. It's just crazy how that goes like that. And we said we speaking of it. Now I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this clip, the winning angle, or I should wait a little later. But I want to play this Madden 21 prediction clip. Now. The prediction does if you watch the highlights here, it does no justice. And if you watch the entire game, which I posted on my Twitter page at BlakeAnthony49 and my YouTube, it doesn't no justice because Madden doesn't do very good simulations sometimes. Sometimes it's outrageous, but this one was pretty good. You think it's going to go one way and goes the other, and it's a pretty decent game. So you guys check this out real quick. And let me know what you think. Put your comments in there. I'll be reading them. I'll still be around. But check out my Madden 21 Super Bowl edition, the final one of the year. Crazy, did these all year, even with the COVID and all that. It's been a crazy year here, especially in Tampa Bay. Check it out.
Tonight, it's Madden NFL football. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We'll see Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Primary guy was going to be, and he ended up going to a secondary target for a nice game.
I was just going to ask you that. A ball batted in the air, and now it's intercepted. Picked off at the 38. And they will be set up now as he brings this thing all the way back inside the 20.
Well, there definitely was some juice on that pass. And while tight ends don't always have the same reputation for hands as wide receivers do, in this case, that ball was expected to be caught.
They'll try and run it in with Bell. And he takes this into the end zone for a Chiefs touchdown. With the first touchdown of this Super Bowl. And the Chiefs are going to take a first quarter lead.
Brandon, this is the Super Bowl. A touchdown scored in any game is big. In this one, it's massive.
Mahomes going to throw. And quickly into the hands of Robinson. And he will take it on in for a Chiefs touchdown. A 14-yard touchdown. And the Chiefs are able to grow their lead. Certainly there are good things about quick strike offenses that score fast. But a long drive can also work to your advantage as well.
In so many ways, Brandon, because number one, you get them tired, but the big one is mentally. They can't figure out how to slow you down, how to get off the field, how to get the ball back. They go to the bench wondering, what are we going to do next?
And again, it's Mahomes. And that'll be caught. Touchdown, Kansas City. Demarcus Robinson. Demarcus Robinson, his second touchdown of this Super Bowl. And the Chiefs are able to extend their lead. Now, he's having a nice little first half here, partner.
And it's a first half that leaves us anticipating what can still come. I mean, 2 touchdowns already here through the second quarter. There could be plenty more before.
Now Brady. And Evans hauls it in. Touchdown, Bucs. A 3-yard touchdown pass. And the Bucs are able to close the gap just a bit. That seemed like a much-needed touchdown after 21 unanswered points to start the game.
It's not often that you equate a football game to a golf tournament, but it's like you don't want to shoot yourself out of the tournament too early.
Tonight, this field goal unit comes out here. And the 11-year veteran bangs it through, and that will get the... It'll be a 47-yard attempt from the left hash. And this is right down the middle as he puts it through. And now a first down carry by Jones. Open space inside the 10. And he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Buccaneers. Sing on 4th and goal. They'll run him with Bell. And he's not going to get in. They stop him at the 1. Le'Veon Bell unable to get in. And the Bucs defense, they'll celebrate the goal line stand. So that's a decision that could loom pretty large here. They go for it on 4th down, but come up empty.
But I actually like the call. And the reason? It shows me a head coach has faith in his team.
Throwing on 2nd and 3. Brady. And he hauls it in for the Buccaneer touchdown. Tom Brady hooking up with Mike Evans there. And the Buccaneers are an extra point away from tying up this football game.
A lot of people might call this backyard football. Sometimes just understanding who you've got out wide and who you're going to throw it to. Give him an opportunity to go up and make a play, even when contested. Looks like that one worked out pretty well. The trust factor, in effect.
This for the lead in the final stages. And that one's not going to get there. Not enough juice. An ambitious effort, but it's well short. And a costly one there as this game remains tied here in the 4th. Succop's kick is good. And the sideline celebrates as they have taken the lead in the final minute. Even with a 3rd and 2 coming up, they got 8 yards there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won the Super Bowl, and they will hoist the Lombardi Trophy to cap an amazing season. And to the Super Bowl champions, they etch their name forever in NFL immortality.
That's pretty phenomenal right there. It actually gave me chills just to hear you say that, because immortality forever and ever. When you look in the record books, you'll see this team, you'll see their picture, that your name will be a part of it. That's got to be
our entire crew. I'm Brandon Gaudin. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next season right here on EA Sports.
Ryan actually challenged it, and the Bucks won the challenge on that. I thought so too, but he ended up dragging the toe. If you're just tuning in to Sports Talk 49 live on NSN Florida, NSN Network, right here every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. I'm Blake Anthony, your host. So 27-24, that's what Madden's got. Very, very interesting. Very interesting point of view of Madden. I told you it didn't turn out what you thought it would at the beginning, but then it came back. Much like what happened in their first matchup, Chiefs got off to a hot start. They got off to a hot start with the interception to Tom Brady. They went down, put up 21 quick points. The Buccaneers rallied back. Chiefs missed out on a 4th and goal situation. They fell short. Tampa Bay was able to go pretty much the length of the field, 99, 100 yards. The drive was actually more than 100 yards because they got penalties that pushed them back. So they actually got over 100 yards on that drive and ended up scoring. And then, the Chiefs missed the field goal to take the lead. The Bucks counteract, get the ball around the 40, and then come and kick the field goal. What if Ryan Succop is the new Adam Vinatieri? Now, he's not going to play in that many, but what do you think about Ryan Succop being the new Adam Vinatieri? Crazy, right? If that actually came to be, Tom Brady would win another Super Bowl, off the leg of a place kicker. Insane, right? That would be, a win's a win. I don't think anybody's going to care. I slice it. At the end of the day, you're going to come out there, hoist up the Lombardi. There's going to be a Super Bowl MVP. It's all the same. So with that being said, I'm looking forward to having our guest on, Al and Ron, here pretty soon. Just read some of you guys' comments. Yes, Ryan, it did. It was very interesting, and it looked like it was out of bounds, but it ended up staying. It ended up staying inbounds because they challenged it, and it worked out. It worked out just fine. But it did. Hey, it's a video game, Ryan. What can you say? The other one that Mahomes threw, rolling out left to the back of the end zone to Robinson, I believe. It's about the same. It looked close, but it's a video game. What can you do? It's a simulation. You just enjoy what you get with the simulations. And speaking of simulations, I'm looking forward to letting you guys check out the winning angle as well, see what the point of view is and things like that. So Bell looked like he got in on the 4th too. The refs were paid off. I think because Jason Pierre-Paul, Ryan tried to strip him on that play. I think that's why it went short, because he tried to strip the ball and his knee went down early. So with that being said, let's check out the winning angle, shall we? Play is unique, ran by the Buffalo Bills against the Chiefs. The Bills rush 3, leave a single safety high, use a linebacker to play the robber in the middle of the field to take away dragging routes, then use another defender to spy the quarterback so Mahomes doesn't get out the pocket. Everybody else is in man coverage. The corner on the outside covering Tyreek Hill already knows that he has outside leverage. You allow Tyreek to release inside and trail while get backing outside when he decides to break outside, and Mahomes has to deliver a dime to complete this pass. Also, once you see Travis Kelce motion in, it's a dead giveaway that the Chiefs are trying to throw a deep play when he blocks and releases. These kind of plays used by Tyreek Hill, the defenders are going to have to use their instincts and pay attention. Tyreek Hill's motion is to get your eyes set in the backfield when Mahomes is trying to get the ball behind the linebackers. Devin White, Levante David need to look at mannerisms. As you see, Tyreek Hill is not trying to get out to space quickly because he knows the ball's not meant for him. Mahomes is staring down the middle linebacker the entire time and waiting for an opportunity to throw the ball right behind where he leaves from. If Tyreek Hill lines up at the one receiver all the way outside, use the sideline as the defender. Todd Bowles needs to be strategically smart on when he takes these opportunities to do this, because it could come off big for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in getting a turnover. What the Patriots did to Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs offense was take away Tyreek Hill with a safety over top with a man trail underneath, can't force the ball underneath or over, which forces Patrick Mahomes to go elsewhere. The Patriots played press, tight, physical coverage on the other receivers and forced Patrick Mahomes to go elsewhere with the ball, and ensuing is an incompletion. this little portion here, I'm going to call Blake's attention to detail. Why do I bring that up? Is because I noticed the thing with the Kansas City Chiefs when they played the Browns and when they played the Buccaneers. And it's not just one player that does it. It's multiple tackles that do it. Do you remember this play against the Browns when the Browns needed a huge stop and MJ Stewart couldn't stop Tyreek Hill and he closes out the game right here? Of course you do. Look at this. Right offensive tackle taps the side near his right buttocks and lets you know that the play is going that way for to end the game against the Browns. Remember this play against the Buccaneers? Buccaneers need to get a stop, right? Same thing. Tyreek Hill rolls out to the left, fakes like he's going uphill, does a comeback, and ends the game, falls inbounds, pretty much close out the Buccaneers. I'm sure you remember that. Well, take a look at this. What is he doing? Tapping the left buttocks, letting you know the play is going that way. Hopefully the defensive players can notice this when the key game is on the line, or hopefully it never gets to this point. But I hope they remember. Here's one way the Chiefs did in their first meeting. They blitzed Tyrann Mathieu off the side and beats Ronald Jones, and Tom Brady sees he has one-on-one coverage with Scotty Miller, underthrows the ball, and is picked off. Let's look at it from another angle here. Tyrann Mathieu comes tight on the blitz, is able to inside step Jones, get pressure on Brady, and force a turnover. Aha! I'm not the only one that watches tape. Green Bay Packers do the same exact thing off the same side. Blitz the weak side, running back's unable to get to Brady, gets a hit on Brady, Brady underthrows the ball and is picked off by Jaire Alexander, one of his 2 interceptions that game. What I want to call this little section here is don't be predictable and break your tendencies, Tom Brady. Teams are noticing when you want to go with the ball in certain looks. Rams do it here. Hyde that he's got over to top help and almost gets an interception there. Saints do it, playoff game. Same look, same thing. Hyde's in the middle of the field and runs over top, knowing that's where you're going to go. Recently, Packers, NFC Championship. Same look, same play. Get over here! Jaire Alexander's second interception. Break your tendencies. Hope you guys enjoyed that, the winning angle. A lot of stuff went into that, a lot of details, a lot of tape. My eyes hurt watching a lot of them films, trying to find every in and out angle I could find. But speaking of break your tendencies, let me stop breaking my tendencies and stop talking so much, and let me get the legend himself, Mr. Al Keck, on here. And I couldn't bring Al on without giving a proper introduction for him.
Questions, of course, you received that Super Bowl week about being a black starting quarterback. Fast forward to now, and the division in this country over race. Now there are 3 black offensive coordinators. You've got 2 in this game. Do you wonder if we're ever going to get this thing right?
Are they ever going to get this thing right, Al? How are you doing?
That's a very good question. I am doing great. How are you, Blake? And let me just say, I love the way you do things. I love the way you break it down. Other people can't do what you do. I can't do what you do. So I just really applaud what you do. And I love the fact that you do what you do. So keep it up.
I appreciate that, sir. So what do you got for us, Al? Why don't you let all the people know what you got coming up? You got so much emotions over these past couple of weeks, especially with the Super Bowl coming up here in Tampa Bay, playing the Chiefs, Buccaneers at home. What do you got? What is the Al Keck got coming up?
Well, on Sunday's show, you saw a piece of it. I've got Doug Williams, and I worked on this for a while. In that, I thought I knew I was going to do a show on Super Bowl Sunday, and on the bone. And so my question was to myself, who do I want on this show that a Buccaneer fan would go, he's not easy to get. I want to hear what he has to say. And yet he's somebody that has real ties to a Super Bowl, and also Buccaneer fans. He means the world to Buccaneer fans. Who could I get in that way? And to me, there was only one person, and that was Doug Williams. So he was gracious enough. Obviously, I know Doug, and we've done things over the years. And in fact, his Super Bowl with the Redskins in San Diego against the Broncos, I was working in San Diego at the time and covered that Super Bowl. That was actually my very first Super Bowl, come to think about it. And there's a great picture on the internet of Doug Williams being interviewed on Media Day, and I'm sitting right behind him. So I was there for the "How long have you been a black starting quarterback?" question, and also the question from another newspaper reporter, because the San Diego Zoo is so big in San Diego, even back then. And he was asked, if you were an animal at the San Diego Zoo, what would you be? That's when the Super Bowl craziness really took another turn. And from there on, it was always just a cultural event. But I was there for those questions. And so, and I was also there for that game. And that first half for Doug Williams was absolutely phenomenal. So anyway, we have a great conversation about that. And remember that when they played the Buccaneers he's now with the Washington Redskins, I should say. And when they played the Buccaneers in that first playoff game this season, the week before that Wednesday before was January 6th, when the tragedy of the Capitol mess happened. And so I just thought that had to be fascinating for him to see all that and to live there and to be a part of that and have that affect him in ways that only you and I can. Well, I mean, it affects all of us, but for him to be a resident there and to have been, I'm sure, in the Capitol, on those Capitol steps, in that rotunda, in all that stuff. I've been there once, and it meant the world to me, to be in there the time I was in there. So to see how that was desecrated, and just with people going in there without reverence to what the place is. And I don't care what your political beliefs are. Mm-hmm. That is a place of, it's a very special place, and it should be revered. And the way it wasn't, was very upsetting to me, regardless of how you feel one way or another. It was, it was just a heinous time in our history, and every country, every civilization goes through those type of things, but to actually witness that and see it all unfolding on TV. I was a history minor in college, so I'm big on history, and to witness that and watch that was was very compelling. And I thought, in asking Doug about it, that he would be able to speak to that as well. And so it really is a fascinating conversation, and I'm proud to have him. And I think he truly enjoyed doing that. And I have to say, since I've been doing the radio show, and I was asked to do the radio show, and it's on The Bone, who's far and away the number one radio station in town. And the cool part is, yes, it's Sunday mornings. You don't know who's watching, but there are people that are watching. And when you do a show like that, I wanted to do it my way. And when I say do it my way, I wanted to do it with special guests and interviews with people that know football, that live football, that know the Buccaneers, that live the Buccaneers, that know the Super Bowl, that live the Super Bowl, that, go right on down the list, or whatever the sport is, and really compelling people. And I've been able to do that with this. And so in many ways, this radio show has been as fun as anything I've ever done, because I've had those guests, and I've had those guests for not just 5 minutes, but for 15, 20 minutes, and ask them things I've always wanted to ask them. And so I feel very lucky and very blessed to have had that forum and to have been able to do that. That was as much fun as anything I've ever done.
It sounds exciting, especially the way you just described that with Doug Williams being a relate, as you had a special interest in it, because you said you were a history major, And then talking to Doug Williams about that, him spending that time in Washington, leaving Tampa Bay, and how he felt about those things. I also seen an interview that Mike Clayton had with Doug Williams as well, talking about, issues like that as well. When he talked about in his playing days, they asked him, I don't know if you remember this back at that time. They asked Doug what was he thinking about, during the national anthem and things like that. He said he looked on the other sideline, was looking to see how many black coaches we were there on the other sideline. At the time, Tampa Bay Times didn't like that response that he had said on there. And of course, he had to have a talk with the head coach at the time and leader of the Tampa Bay Times. So yes, Doug Williams is definitely a good guy that for this situation and with all these things going on, perfect to have him on there and asking those things.
On Super Bowl Sunday, I absolutely agree. And, because he has truly lived it. I mean, he's lived it in the National Football League, and it's just a fascinating conversation all the way around. I think hopefully if you're a Buccaneer fan, and you've been around for a while and you remember 1979 and you remember 1978 when he was drafted, that it is something that will speak to you and will interest you and will certainly keep your attention.
Most definitely. So you talked to another former Buccaneer too, Steve Young, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was incredible. I mean, really, really good. I go back a ways with Steve in that when I was working again in San Diego, we had the Holiday Bowl every year, and at that time, the winner of the Western Athletic Conference would play in that game against another, somebody else that they would get. And so I met him then when he was a junior and a senior at BYU. And the year he won the Heisman and his senior year, he came to San Diego to play in that. And I emceed a big banquet before the game. And of course, had interviewed him a couple times. And so he was gracious enough. I'm trying to think. There might have been one other time when I interviewed him since. But Steve Young is a sharp guy. Well, he's an attorney, and so, or at least has his law degree. And so he remembered, and so what that did was get my foot in the door. And then as we talked a little more, we could talk about a lot of different things. And it was something that we did. And it really was an incredible interview. And my favorite, the one thing I had always wanted to ask him about was that Snow Bowl, against Green Bay up there when he was tackled at a snowbank and snow got stuffed in his helmet. And he really thought he was going to suffocate and he couldn't breathe. He's trying to get it out and all the things that went through his mind. And how he talked about that game and how he talked about the difference between what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were with Lehman Bennett and what the San Francisco 49ers were a couple of years later with Bill Walsh and the differences there. It was just fascinating, just really, really different about how Bill Walsh was cutting edge even back then, thinking about nutrition and the amount of sleep that you got and how you took care of your body. And not just about football, but other aspects of keeping your body as finely tuned as you could possibly be. And, let's face it, in the late 80s, early 90s, we really didn't think about those things. Nope. So it was a very interesting conversation with Steve Young about that. And he had some very strong opinions about Tom Brady and what this offense needed to do and how, it was obvious that in the bye week, there was a meeting of the minds and everyone just kind of came together and said, okay, does this work? Does this work? Let's do more of this. How about if we tried this with this? How about if we do that or whatever? And there came this meeting of the minds. And that's when the Buccaneers got their act together. And they haven't lost since Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And and the feeling has always been when this team gets its act together, it's going to be really good. Well, this team has its act together. What does that mean on Sunday? Who knows? But the cool part is we're in the middle of all this. I mean, how many communities would be dying to be in our place, not just to host the game, but to host the game and have your football team in it, no matter what we've gone through as a nation, no matter what we've gone through as a community, no matter what we've gone through in our family and personally with everything, we're going to be able to just hopefully sit back and just enjoy this game. And the fact that we've got some, we've got some skin in the game here makes it even better.
Absolutely. It's like you just got to enjoy the ride. And that's pretty much all I've done this whole time is just like kind of like what Brady told Devin White. It's like, what are you crying for? He says it's not over. So you just try to enjoy it as long as you can, especially with the cherry on top of playing in your home city, hosting the Super Bowl, first time ever done with Tom Brady. So many storylines will be written from this going to the future of the history. And that's awesome that we did in the story you had about Steve Young. I was a guy I grew up admiring for so long. Heck, I got his Buccaneer plaque right there on the wall when he was here, when he got drafted by the Buccaneers. And he did get paired up with a guy who tried to make his own way as well, with Bill Walsh spending all that time over in Cincinnati and building that system, and then coming to San Francisco, implementing the same system. It was only fair they ended up having to play Cincinnati for the big game to win a Super Bowl later on in the future. But
and the not to interrupt you, but the real beauty in that is a lesson that I think we should all take, because I actually had this conversation with Bill Walsh years ago. And my first job was in Spokane, Washington. So I went to Washington State University. So I covered the then Pac-8. That was what I covered.
The Cougars.
And so I remember when he became the head coach at Stanford. And he only became the head coach at Stanford because he was screwed over by the Bengals in not getting the head job after Paul Brown retired. They gave it to another gentleman, Bill Johnson, and Walsh was the one that had really taken the West Coast offense. And the only reason the West Coast offense came into being is because the Bengals had a young quarterback by the name of Greg Cook, who had a huge arm, big time arm, and they had some good wide receivers. And the Bengals really had some success because Bill Walsh had taken Greg Cook and really, in a very short time, because he was a first or second or even third year quarterback, and used his talents. Again, big arm, excellent passer. Well, in the middle of one season, Cook gets hurt, and it basically ended his career. And so the quarterback they brought in was a guy named Virgil Carter. And Virgil Carter was an effective passer. He didn't have the big arm. He was very limited at what he could do. He was kind of like a Gardner Minshew, another Washington State quarterback. But, he could make the passes, but he didn't have the big time arm. So Bill Walsh, as an offensive coordinator, developed this West Coast, what became the early version of the West Coast offense, to take advantage of what Virgil Carter could do for the Bengals in the middle of a season, and they took it from there. And so when Walsh did not get the job, he left the Bengals. He was hurt, and he understood on one level, but was still very hurt, and ended up looking for a job, and ended up becoming the head coach at Stanford. And nobody knew what to expect from Bill Walsh at Stanford. And he was there for a couple of years, but whomever he had as quarterbacks, he developed them into one of the top quarterbacks in college football that year, and they all got drafted. And so I remember his second year at Stanford, I talked to him about the disappointment of not getting the job that you feel you were destined to get, and how you get past that, and how you develop that into a job that you were truly destined to have. And that was the San Francisco job. And I'll never forget, and I think it's just poetic justice,
I already know what
he
you're going to
ends
say.
up playing Cincinnati for his first Super Bowl championship, you know? And so it's an amazing lesson. It's an amazing story. And it should be, very much something that will inspire and get people to think about, even though you have disappointment right now, what can you do to this? What can you do to put your life in a spot to where you can get the job, the opportunity, the person, you fill in the blank that you really, really want?
Absolutely. And you're saying all this about coaching, and immediately in my head, the name Eric Bieniemy pops up.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, as soon as you say that, you say didn't get the job that you should have got qualified to get, watching all these other guys that don't have the experience and the success that you have get these jobs. It's whatever. But I just hopefully things work out much like it did for Bill Walsh, for Eric Bieniemy.
Well, it's a little bit different world today
Yeah.
than it was, than it was back then. And from what I've been able to ascertain, and I mean, you're not going to be able to Google this or get information on this, but it's obvious to me that there's more there under the surface than what we know.
Yep.
And I get the feeling that there might have been some situations when Eric was younger and as a player and that type of thing that has brought a discomfort level with teams. Now, does that mean he should not get this opportunity? I think if Andy Reid retired today, I think the person that would be named to replace him would be Eric Bieniemy.
I agree.
Which should really say something about what the Kansas City Chiefs think of him. So, and again, I'm just going by what people have told me in recent years. I haven't heard any of this other stuff come out, and it's not, and I haven't been given specifics about stuff, but which really isn't fair for me to even go this far. But I agree with you. On the surface, there are a whole lot of people that have had less, and they've gotten jobs. So if it just comes down to football, he should definitely be a head coach in this league. And if it hasn't come down to just football, there's got to be something there that other people know that we don't.
Nope, I have to agree with you 100%. And that's just basic common sense. And you're on with Al Keck. I have to think the same thing, because the resume of football is there, just like you said. So let's just take that variable out. And so it has to be, what else has happened that's behind the scene? Is it the fact that he can't interview well? I don't think that is. I had my old ball coach on here, and he reminded me was a kid that I played with, George, and Eric Bieniemy at the time when he was coaching in college tried to recruit George. So he knew the interview wasn't what his verbal skills weren't the issue. So it has to be something else that's happened somewhere along the lines that nobody else knows besides a few people, that he's not getting this job, or simply they've already told him that he's going to get Andy Reid's successor. Who knows? Like who knows?
I had a long talk one time with Tony Dungy, and Tony, he was considered to be the top assistant in the NFL for several years. And he was interviewed several times. In fact, he told me he was interviewed 7 times for a head coaching job. Never got an offer. And the word was he just did not interview well. Well, you've heard Tony. Well, I mean, look at him now.
He's the exact same.
And he's the same person. Yep. But, he's now made, I think if someone had asked Tony 20 years ago, do you think when you leave the NFL that you will become a broadcaster and become a national broadcaster? I don't think there's any way he would have thought that would have been in his future. But he told me a story that he was convinced, and he was told he had been interviewed by Jacksonville. And he had been told he was going to be the coach.
Okay.
And he was told, we will get with you tomorrow and we'll get the details on flying you up for the press conference, and we'll get things finalized on the contract and all that stuff. But he went to bed that night believing he was the head coach of the first coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next morning comes up, he doesn't hear from him. He doesn't hear from him in the afternoon. He doesn't hear from him that night, and finally later that night he hears that Tom Coughlin had accepted the head coaching job of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he says, I was extremely disappointed because I thought I finally had it. But what it told me, and again, he's, we all know the man of faith that Tony is, and faith is a big part of my life as well. But what he told me at that point was, I prayed and I had asked God, if I ever get interviewed again, or if I ever get an opportunity to become a head coach, please have it be an opportunity to where I can do things the way I want to do it, and I can. It would be the right opportunity for me, and that turned out to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Prayer answered, and it was the opportunity that was perfect for him. And he said, so that prayer gets answered, and I get a team that hadn't been to the playoffs in X amount of years, was the losingest franchise in the history of the National Football League, and one of the losingest franchise in the history of American professional sports.
Correct.
So that's my opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I prayed for this. Well, here it is. And look what he turned it into. So again, very inspiring, like Bill Walsh.
No, definitely. Those are very close. Those are pretty good, similar stories there, and how things turned out and did things their way, as you said. But switching gears a little bit. So what do you got? In this Super Bowl matchup? What do you think the key things are that each team needs to do? What do you think, Al? What are the keys to victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, obviously they're playing very well right now. But I still don't think some things have changed in that, I don't think the Buccaneers have anybody that can cover Tyreek Hill. I just don't. And I think if nothing else, Tyreek Hill could simply just run down the field and the Bucs would have to chase. And they can't catch. They can't catch him. So to me, that's going to be the key. I know the first time around that they played, everyone wants to make a big deal out of the fact that he had over 200 yards in the first quarter, which he did. But he really didn't have much from there. And so the feeling is, that the Bucs adjusted. And I don't tend to agree with that. I tend to think that Kansas City was thinking, okay, we're going to pull everything back here. We've seen we can do this. We have a 17-0 lead. We're on the road. Who knows? We may play this team on down the road.
As Tony Romo predicted.
We're going to just kind of cool it the rest of the way. And they simply went away from Tyreek Hill, knowing they had that in their hip pocket if they ever needed it. And so I find that first game, it was a 3-point win for Kansas City. And even though the Buccaneers came back, I find that a little deceiving, or very deceiving, because I still think that come Sunday, that the only thing that could slow down Tyreek Hill would be an injury. And because I don't think the Buccaneers have anybody that can hang with him, or even two people that can hang with him, because you put more people on Tyreek Hill and he can still get behind you. And then you got Travis Kelce. And even though I think the Buccaneers are better equipped to cover Kelce than most teams, that's still a tough combination, because then you still got Sammy Watkins that can, they still have some other weapons that they can come and hurt you with. And, they've got some decent running backs. And we saw a year ago that running backs that we didn't really think were going to be a factor in this game, Kansas City made them a factor. And Andy Reid is one of the most underrated coaches out there, in that you talk to people in the NFL, and they will tell you that Andy Reid is as good as any coach out there in preparing a team, in getting a team ready to go after your weaknesses and to exploit your weaknesses and to take advantage of what they do well. And so I think that's going to be tough. I think it's going to be, the Buccaneers are going to have to make some plays. They have got to defensively somehow force some turnovers, and they can't settle for field goals.
Ooh.
They got to score touchdowns. And, I could easily see it be a 48-45 kind of game. And, which would be an incredible game to watch, and exactly the type of thing that we need as a society to quite honestly watch and enjoy, and just gorge ourselves on that. And so I'm hoping it turns into that. Definitely.
The Buccaneers do not have somebody that can match up pound for pound speed for Tyreek Hill or Mecole Hardman. Either one of those two, if you're talking about just pound for pound speed, Tyreek Hill alone demands at least two guys. That's why I went and looked at some teams that had success against Tyreek Hill. I looked at the Patriots, and everybody knows Bill Belichick is really good at scheming against people. So what they did when Tyreek Hill played against the sidelines, they just used the safety. They used the sideline as an extra defender and used the safety to help over a top. And you have the corner play underneath, and you force the ball have to be thrown in such a tight window. I mean, it can be done, but you can just live with those results rather than what happened in the first matchup where you're just trying to play Carlton Davis, who isn't exactly fleet of foot, very physical corner against a track star in Tyreek Hill, and you saw what happened. And then, of course, Todd Bowles made adjustments, but you brought up an interesting point of view. You made me think of it a little different. That's why I love having you and other guys like you with different opinions, because you're right. Maybe the Chiefs didn't. They didn't want to show everything when you didn't have to. You had a lead. You knew you could coast into victory. Tom Brady gave up 2 interceptions in that game in some critical moments where the Buccaneers had chances to win that game, and they really didn't need it. And then when they needed Tyreek Hill, they ran that play where I showed you in there what I saw with the tackles, what I thought was interesting. I wonder if they still do that if it ever comes to that situation again. They went to Tyreek Hill on a comeback route to end the game. So,
and I firmly believe if the Buccaneers had tied it up and gone to overtime, that Kansas City would have pulled out some Tyreek Hill, plays. They're in the overtime, 2 passes, bang, game over. And I mean, if not a touchdown, certainly would have put them in field goal range. And they could have taken that lead at that point. But I think they would have scored a touchdown. And I think it would have been Tyreek Hill that would have scored it.
No, most definitely. It probably would have been him, and they would have been trying to force the ball to him. Al, we actually got somebody else in the lobby here down here. Fast Track Cannabis Clinics wants to join us. Go ahead, sir.
How's it going, Blake?
How's it going? You got me and Al here, Mr. Legendary Al Keck.
How you doing, Al?
I'm great. How are you?
Another day in paradise, man.
Yes.
Another day in paradise. Yep, excited. This is an exciting time in Tampa Bay, obviously, with all this lead up to the Super Bowl, and it's so unprecedented. Blake, you're pretty lucky. I don't know. Blake's getting to go to the Super Bowl. I don't know if he told you, Al.
Yes, I heard that. Now, Blake, are you a Super Bowl virgin?
Yes.
Okay. So, this is some kind of cherry to pop there, my friend. You're going to a Super Bowl.
I told him we should do the tall man, like the Muppets. I'll get on his shoulders and we'll get a trench coat, and we'll get a 2-for-1. But yeah, and I believe it's your birthday too, Blake. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yes,
thank you.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
Blake. Happy birthday. I meant to say that sooner. In fact, I had kind of a fun little present for you, but you know what? I kind of gave it away already, and I think it was in some way underappreciated, but under closed doors might have been more appreciated.
Well, you're a very thoughtful person, Al, and we love you. We obviously Tampa Bay, a sports media icon. Blake has come a long ways, man, and this guy's got all the talent in the world. He brings something to the table that really I don't see anybody doing. I mean, he understands.
No one else can. No one else.
He knows this film better than most people I see on TV. He has a tremendous value. We're happy to have him on the network, and he's got a hell of a career, a bright future.
I agree completely.
What do you, Al? What? And I know you guys had opportunity to be able to talk about the obviously the game coming up. You think that our biggest liability is going to be that secondary?
I think our biggest liability, and I had said this way back in March, that I know everyone thinks that this Buccaneer defense is completely turned things around and is all that, but this is still a very young secondary. And that's not to say that on down the road that they won't be really, really good. Mm-hmm. It's just that, you've got to go through growing pains with this group. And so that doesn't make this, even though you've had 2 weeks and all that stuff. And I think these are good young players. And I think they're guys, obviously, that are going to have impressive careers in the National Football League. Right now, I just don't see how they match up with Tyreek Hill and some of those other weapons. So, but, this is what Super Bowl is all about. We've seen this. We've seen the Buccaneers come back a third time and beat New Orleans. We've seen them come back a second time and beat Green Bay again.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, if anybody can do it, it's these guys. I just think in this game, it's pretty obvious. It's, the Bucs are going to have to score early. They can't afford a slow start. They've got to score, and they've got to score touchdowns. And I think they can score touchdowns against Kansas City. The question is getting an early lead on them and then keeping the gas, as Robert Saleh would say, keep the gas on. Foot is on the gas, you don't let up. And they're going to have to do that the whole game to have any chance to beat this Kansas City team.
Speaking of putting your foot on the gas, we never let up, because right now we just got somebody else who joined in this lobby, none other than Agency One Sports Group's CEO, owner, Levante Davis agent, my brother from another mother, Ron Butler.
I am here, baby. It's game week.
No time.
Week. If you're not excited about this one, something's wrong with you.
Definitely that, Ron. And you came on the right time. Al was just breaking down. He says he said all year since March, you're going to have growing pains with the secondary. You're having growing pains with the secondary. Injuries have plagued this team in the secondary. I believe, is that correct, Al, that they didn't have Jamil Dean the first matchup either when the Bucs played the Chiefs, if I remember correct. I think was it.
I don't think they did.
I know Vale was out.
To remember, did they have Ali Marpet then? Or was he still hurt?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They did not. I don't believe the offensive line was fully healthy. I believe Dean may have been out that week. But I think when you get a full, a somewhat healthy team, a somewhat healthy unit, and the team is clicking, I think the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. I think what happened back in, what was that, week 6? Let's forget about week.
It's a different team. It's a different season.
Team. That's a different team.
But Tyreek Hill scares me to death. And,
he scares everybody to death.
And he scares everybody to death. And I have, to this day, I have never seen Tyreek Hill's face or the front of his jersey. I just see the back of his jersey. And if Tyreek Hill knocked at my door today, I wouldn't know him. Now, if he had his back behind me, I could say, Tyreek,
okay. There you
come on in, Tyreek. And quite honestly, I kind of think Sean Murphy Bunting and Carlton Davis can say the same thing.
Man.
Don't forget the peace sign too. When he runs by, he pulls up the deuces when he runs by.
Listen, man, I haven't seen too many guys like just over the years that can do the things that he does. Like if you think about it, you guys remember D'Angelo? I think it was the ex. What's the guy? Was it Hall?
Yeah, D'Angelo Hall. And then
Okay, so it's like a combination of that, a complete wide receiver. He had like Tyreek has the return ability, but really his yak yards after catch and how explosive he is, where you just hold your breath every time he gets the ball. I remember being in I want to say it was Los Angeles. I want to say it was 2 years ago, and the Chargers were playing the Chiefs. I think it was opening day, and I said, these guys got to be crazy if they're going to kick the ball to this kid on a punt return. And the next thing you know, you look up, he's gone. Touchdown. Yeah. Then he comes back offensively, hits somebody on the post, boom, he's gone. Touchdown. He's just so electrifying as a player. It's like having Devin Hester and all of these guys wrapped up into one guy who can do it all. So anytime a guy like that is an opponent, you better make sure your game plan is strong. And I think that from what I've been told, what the Bucs worked on this week, they have a game plan. They got a really strong game plan. And at the end of the day, if your game plan isn't working, you got to throw it out at halftime and try to figure it out. We're gonna see who the best coaching staff is, man. But it's gonna be a hell of a game. That's my opinion.
Well, Ron, you used to be a coach. What would you do in this situation? How would you contain?
One thing, you can't single cover the guy. I know they tried to do that with Carlton Davis. I think they played like a one high safety and rolled. I want to say it was Winfield, or who's my other guy back there? Was it Edwards?
Edwards and Whitehead.
Okay, you can't play this guy, man to man. That's just not going to work. He's too quick. I mean, I think that when you got a smaller guy like that who can line up outside, he can line up in the slot, he can create mismatches for any corner. I don't care who it is. Okay, you always got to play. Always got to have that safety over top to help out. The only problem with that is now you're looking on the other side and you're saying you got Travis Kelce, you got Hardman, you have, I don't know if Sammy Watkins plays this week. I don't know if Robinson plays this week. But you got so many weapons. And when you got a quarterback, under center, like a Mahomes who can extend plays, I think that's where you're going to run into a problem if those two defensive ends can't contain Mahomes. The front four, they're going to have to apply pressure the whole game. They have to get him rattled, and once he gets rattled, you got to step on his neck, because if not, you look up and this guy's, he's an extending the play, finds a guy wide open in the middle of the field, throws it back across the field. He's a special guy, man. And when you have those weapons like that, you have to make sure that I think it's going to be pressure. I think it's going to be you got to double Tyreek. And I think with the matchup in terms of Kelce and Hardman, I think you just take your chances one-on-one with those guys and say, hey, you know what, they're going to beat us. Let them beat us one-on-one over here, but not with Tyreek. If you do that with Tyreek, it's going to be a long game. It's going to be a long game.
I agree.
Yeah, those are good points, man. Ron, I think that we do have we've got a little advantage, obviously. I know the Chiefs, OL is a little banged up, but like he touched on, Patrick Mahomes is he's another animal. He's this guy. He defies every conventional football stereotype that I mean, he rolls right, he throws left, he rolls left, he throws right. I mean, he also, I mean, you could, if you beat him on the edge, you see him sometimes where he drops back. I mean, he could drop back 5-10 plus yards and extend plays, which is hopefully if we can get to him, like he says, early and get to him often, and get them rattled. But it's gonna be interesting. If we come out, I think, and what I'm worrying about or wondering about is how much of the run game is going to factor in here. Are we going to come out? What do you guys think? Your opinion on, because we've been firing on all cylinders, when it comes to passing recently, but we still do have that running ability. Do you guys think that we should run the ball to keep Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill off the field and try to, make them play on our terms, or do you think that we should just come full out and let it be an air show like it's been here recently?
You guys want to answer that one, or
you go first? You're the former coach.
See how he did that wrong.
Well, listen. I think that you can attempt to control the clock with the run game. I think you got to look at the areas of weakness in terms of Kansas City's defense. Where is the areas of weakness? Is it the secondary? Is it the front seven? What are those areas? And I think based on that, you really got to figure out, okay, if their front seven is tough and we can't run against them and we're forced to pass because now we're going 3 and out, we're putting ourselves in a tough bind because now we're putting it on the defense. And when you got a offense like the Kansas City Chiefs that's going to score points. You guys remember last year, I believe they played, was it the Tennessee Titans they played in the playoffs? Okay, they were down.
They were down.
Yeah, that was it. It was
Houston.
Yeah, well, and they were down both games.
Yeah, that's right. They were the comeback kids. Yeah, that's what it was.
I want to say they were down 20 points in both games.
Correct.
And they came storming back.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's my concern is that, okay, if you have this game plan where you're going to come in the first half and you're going to try to run the football and try to control the clock, we know that they can score at any point in time. They can come back, third quarter, fourth quarter. If they're down 20 points, whatever the case may be, they're capable of coming back if there's any type of mishaps in terms of your defense. An injury, a blown coverage, anything like that can ultimately affect your game plan. And now you're not able to stick to that game plan. You got to scrap it and come up with something new, which I'm sure they have a plan B. But I think that, truth be told, man, I would come out. I got the best quarterback of all time. I put the game on in his hands. I'm going to need those running backs to catch the ball out of the backfield a lot better than they have been over the last couple of weeks. I've seen Fournette run the ball like the old Fournette. I'm so impressed with what I've seen from him. I like to see Ronald Jones get back to Ronald Jones. Okay, and if you got that two-headed monster going and you got Brady, the offensive line is clicking, then you might potentially be able to run the football to control the clock. But like we all know, Kansas City is capable of being down 28 points and figuring out a way to come back. I think you got one of the best head coaches who's an offensive-minded guy in Andy Reid, who plans for these moments. So I think that to answer your question, I think you got to come with a balanced attack. I don't really think it's a ball control game. I don't think it's going to be that.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, the Buccaneers can move the ball on Kansas City. Mm-hmm. The difference is going to be you can't settle for a field goal. You've got to get touchdowns because the only time you'll be comfortable with the lead on Patrick Mahomes is when it's 28 points and there's only 2 minutes remaining. And even then, you're going to be nervous. You're going to say, oh my God, doesn't this clock run any faster? It's still going to be that. So I think they can move the ball on Kansas City. I think Kansas City is so explosive. And thank God we have Levante David. Thank God we have.
I see the hat too, Ron, by the way.
And
most underrated linebacker in the game.
And so those guys give the Buccaneers options that most defenses can only dream about. Correct. And when you talk about a front seven, having those guys, that's like having a front nine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that will help make up for the inexperience in the secondary. And but I still see it as an incredibly high scoring game. And it may be. I mean, if I have every bit of confidence, if the ball is in Brady's hands for the last drive and it's tied or whatever, 1 or 2 points, I think he'll take him down for the winning points. That being said, I have those same worries for Mahomes.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against the Bucks. It's just that's how explosive they are. Yeah. But the main thing is that we've got to look at this game as such a blessing in that nobody else in the country, I mean, Kansas City and Tampa Bay can sit back and say, look at us. Look what we get to enjoy.
Right.
Look how cool this is. Right. Because there is no community on the face of this earth that wouldn't trade places with us in a heartbeat. Absolutely. And this year with COVID This year with the divisiveness, this year with all the problems, the deaths, and all the hurtful things that have gone on, we can take 4 hours to just sit back and just gorge out on what could be an incredible game. And we may not see an opportunity like this again. So let's enjoy this.
Well said.
Let's really have fun with this. And then we'll all talk about it on Monday.
Well said. I agree.
We're going down in history either way. You know, how exciting it is here, though. I mean, honestly, to be able to have this here, it's just so ironic. I mean, really, to have all this hype and but you guys remember we didn't even know if there was going to be football or not.
Absolutely, you're right.
The dominoes were falling, and it started with the NBA, and then it just and I mean, it was just a big question in the air. No one knew if we were going to have football or not. So to actually finally get football and be able to have, Tom Brady, on this team, and then go get Gronk. And, I'll say one thing. Either way, no matter what happens, you have to absolutely take your hat off to Jason White.
Oh,
I mean, this guy, the balls that this guy has to be able to. I mean, now with Winston, he threw for 5,000 yards. What it was 30 and 30, wasn't it, I believe?
Yeah.
To be able to say, we're going to move on from a 5,000 yard passer, even though obviously he had the interceptions. He went and got his LASIK, so there was all these. Everyone was wondering, well, what if he could see better? Maybe is that the reason he's throwing so many interceptions? But for Jason White to say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, we're going to move on. And for him to do it, go after the greatest quarterback of all time and do it all the year that they're hosting the Super Bowl. And then go get Gronk and then go get Shady, Fournette.
The stars align.
Yeah. You just really, you can't say enough about the guy. I can't say enough about the this front office. And I think Bucs fans, they really deserve it. I mean, we're diehard. Out there, I remember that year it was 0-8 before we saw a win, and still out there, still excited about it. And Bucs fans deserve it. Either way, it's good for the city. It's great for the city. And look at that Brady effect. Look at what has happened. With the Lightning and and then obviously the Rays. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the two teams that Tom Brady played for ended up being in similar situations. That's that Brady effect everyone talks about. Honestly, I didn't know if it was real. I because he beat me on every team of mine for a long time. Everybody hates the GOAT until he's on your team, until he's your quarterback, and then he comes in and you can't help but to just take your hat off to him, to his story of where he was drafted. 6th round, 199th overall. He looked like olive oil. His draft picture. He was, but it was always about his work ethic. And this is just history. We're going down in history either way. So it's been great to ride this wave this year. And I can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see what happens on Sunday, guys.
Here's what I love about Brady, and it isn't just making the plays, the X's and O's, what he does. What he has done, we talk about him changing the culture of this team.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond that, because what he's done, because I remember what I was like when I was 21, 22, 23 years old. He's gone in to that facility and he said to these guys, listen, we can't do this. We can't do that. We have to be smart at home. When you drive out of those gates from this facility, you have got to be smarter than you've ever been. If your wife wants to go here, or if your girlfriend wants to go there, or if your buddy wants to do this or whatever, from now until until February 8th, you cannot do it. Because the one thing that'll bring this team down is a COVID outbreak. And he brought that into that building, in that we're going to stay focused on this. We're not going to mess around. We're going to hold ourselves accountable to this, and we will not alter that. And he got everyone in that organization bought in because it would be very easy as a third string, whatever, saying, "Oh my God, I just go out. I gotta go see some friends."
Right.
And I've got to do this. I just have to. I'm going crazy. No one did. No one did. And so that's where I admire what everyone has done, because they've been committed to this from day one, not just because of practice or not because of workouts at Berkeley or not because of whatever. They've been committed to this from week one, and it's only been a matter of time for this team to get its act together. And then when they did, then they could really see the fruits of what they had done. And now they're seeing that. So it's right there for the taking. Unfortunately, they're taking on the most dangerous team in the NFL. But if anyone can do it, we've seen against the Saints, we've seen against the Packers that they can do it.
On the road.
Not, they know.
On the road.
Yep, on the road. Road Warriors. Yep.
Yeah, and for a warm weather team, I've been at Lambeau Field on a cold ass day.
Yeah.
And I can tell you.
I actually went to the game, so
Then you know. You know when you get out of that car or when you walk out of a building and that cold air hits your lungs and you go, "Oh my God."
It's different.
It's a little, and I don't care what, and I used to talk to Tony about this. He says, "Hey, listen, cold is in your mind." He says it's much more difficult to go on a really, he says heat, it will hurt you physically. You'll cramp up, you'll this, you'll that. I say, baloney. I know that's true. But when you're used to 75 degrees,
right,
and you're going to 5 degrees, that'll make you shrivel up in a place like you will not believe.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, I went to.
Thank God for jock straps.
I want to say I went to.
That's right. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter.
I went to Foxborough a couple of years ago. The Patriots were taking on the Chargers, and I was sitting in the stands, and I had my warmers, my hand warmers, my shoe warmers, and everything. It was. I want to say it was around 20 degrees, maybe in the teens, and I was just sitting there, and I was thinking to myself, how do guys play in this weather? I literally had to get up from my seat and go find an indoor area to watch the rest of the game. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I respect the guys. I mean, honestly, man, I respect the guys for, obviously those playing conditions. And when you can still play at a high level in those playing conditions, and going back to the Packer game, being on the road and putting on a performance like they put on, I was really impressed. And it goes back to what you just said, just about being accountable. And I think that the one thing I will say that Brady learned from Bill Belichick is that you have to hold everybody within the organization, not just the players. Everybody has to be held accountable for his or her actions. And if we're going to get to where we're trying to get to, which is championships, you got to conduct yourself a certain way. And I love what Tom has done. I love the respect that he commands. When I talked to Jason Lick before the season and Mike Greenberg before the season actually started, this was back in the spring, and we had a number of conversations. He said, "Hey, listen, we're really putting something together. We want to win now." And the thought process was, we're not gonna put this super team together and not try to get it done now. So we can go out and get the GOAT. If we can go out and get Gronk, if we can go out and get Antonio Brown, who I am very impressed with how he's conducted himself.
Yes.
There's been no issues. I think Tom has demanded accountability with him, and the guy has bought in. And you go out and get a Leonard Fournette, and you go out and get a LaShawn McCoy, and these guys are still playing and really pushing each other And I mean, I think it's one of the best teams I've seen assembled in a short period of time. So my hat, like you guys said, my hat's off to Jason, my hat's off to Mike Greenberg for those guys getting it done. And at the top, Bruce Arians, who's older coach, but when he came in, he said, "Listen, we're not trying to wait until 5 years. We're trying to get this done now." So for him, I'm excited for those guys, man. I'm looking forward to being at the game and going through that whole thing, and I'm hoping that these guys end up being victorious.
Absolutely. I think you both hit that right on the head. And I think that was a huge aspect that went very underlooked this season, talking about with the whole commitment to COVID, when they actually had the guys, Devin White and the guys go out and people were upset. I'm like, you've been blessed all season that you didn't have to worry about this issue at all. Mm-hmm. Every team that they played just about had people out. There was teams that had offensive linemen out in the matchup. Remember, and we'll take this all the way back to remember the Berkeley Prep, as Al just mentioned earlier. There was, I can't remember who it was exactly, but they went on there and basically took a shot at Tom Brady and called him for poor leadership of going to Berkeley Prep. Mm-hmm. If I remember, yes, if you guys remember that. Mm-hmm. I can't remember who it was. They took
the national media was all over. Yeah. And if I'm Brady, I'd say, who the fat are you?
Yeah,
and if you get your panties in a wad over that, that's a you problem. I just, and what the National Football League has become and what we're seeing this year, more than anything, it's no longer about building the best team. It's no longer about the best 53. It's about an organization. And that accounting person that's working in that building that has, the last office on whatever floor it is, he's become every bit as important in this organization because he's got to live up to the same standards that Ron was talking about. He can't go out with his buddies. He can't go out with his wife. He may not be able to go to mom's for Thanksgiving.
Right.
They all have to make that same sacrifice in this organization. And so what I think is so cool about being champion of Super Bowl 55, that you have an entire building, not just the locker room, but an entire building.
Yep.
Players to coaches to personnel people to administration to front office to janitors to receptionists. That whole building.
Don't forget barbers.
What's that?
Don't forget the barbers.
Barbers.
You heard about the Chiefs, right? Yeah. Lining up.
Hey, could you
line
guys
up your COVID.
Imagine if those guys had to miss the game?
Oh my!
Because of a haircut.
Oh my goodness!
Now let me ask you this: let's say, heaven forbid, but let's say that on Tuesday, all of a sudden they find out that they've got 10, 12, how many other people got a haircut. And this organization, including all their stars,
mm-hmm.
There's a huge question mark as to if they're going to play. What would the National Football League do? Would they say, tough, you're going to play?
They did.
And you've got to play with what you have. Or would they make an exception? Would they say, we're going to let all this stuff settle down and we'll play the game a week and we'll wait and see? That would have been extremely interesting because I know only one guy had actually gotten his haircut.
Right. Mahomes did too.
That was, halfway through. But it would have been interesting if all those guys had gotten their haircut and the next day all this stuff had come out. I'd be interesting to see what the National Football League would have done then.
Listen, that would have been something that was swept under the rug.
Really?
I'm just going to tell you.
You believe that?
100%.
They would have built the building, but it would have been everyone's secret from there.
Yes.
Wow.
They listen because it was really about the trait. I guess you can say just being in the vicinity of the barber or whoever it was. And a lot of times these guys are missing games not because they actually have the virus, but they've been around the person that had the virus. So if you go back and you think about the Denver Broncos situation where they didn't have a quarterback and they had to put the practice squad wide receiver who played quarterback.
Yes, Denver.
in the game. Okay, all of the quarterbacks didn't have COVID. The problem was all of those guys were around each other.
Right.
Okay, so it was like, okay, well, we don't have it. This guy may have it. We're not testing positive, but at the same time, these are the rules. But I think for a game like this, with as many superstars are in this game, it would have been one of those things where you just keep quiet, let them play the game, and we'll figure it out down the road. It's the last game of the season. That's what I think they would have done.
Right. You know, my son-in-law is, I'm sure you guys have all been tested. Have you guys gone through that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get this. My son-in-law is a college basketball coach for a university out west. And actually it's UC Davis.
Okay.
So it's what has become one of the top research universities in this COVID situation, you know, as far as coming up with testing and all this stuff. So do you know how often he is tested?
Probably too much.
Get this. Twice a day.
Yikes.
So for him to even walk on campus, UC Davis has developed a nasal thing. I mean, it's not the hammer. It's not the hammer that goes up your nose, you know.
Hammer.
But so for him to even walk on campus, he's got to do that. Then if they have a practice under NCAA rules, they then have to do the swab.
Huh.
So he's tested twice a day.
Wow.
And that'll pucker your butthole like you wouldn't believe.
I believe it. When you're talking about what made me think about what Ron was just saying about they would have swept it under the rug. I don't know if you guys remember this. Think about, let's take this, switch sports. Let's switch to the World Series. Do you remember the Dodgers player that tested positive during the game?
Yeah. Yeah.
During the game.
Yep.
Turner.
You remember, Al? Yep. You remember?
Oh, absolutely.
He tested positive and they didn't leave the game. Nobody mentioned nothing till the game was over.
Well,
so I believe Ron.
they took him out at a time when the Dodgers were in control.
Yeah, it was over.
So they took him out, and then they didn't want him getting in there and celebrating with everybody. And he finally just said, "To heck with you, I'm going." And he did. And I don't think anything really happened. And really, like Ron said, if they just kept it to themselves and they played in this game, and I don't, if we had heard, I don't know, 10, 12 Buccaneers come up positive 2 weeks from now, would we have heard that? I don't know. I don't know.
I think that when you have a game of this magnitude, last game of the season, a game that'll go down in history with a team that is playing the Super Bowl in their home stadium. I think that's one of those that you just got to say, hey, don't say anything.
Yeah, and you know why, Ron? Because
the word.
This is the NFL's biggest payday.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And you can't mess with that this year.
Correct.
You can't mess with that this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. They probably would just say, "Mum's the word," and we'll deal with it if we have to deal with it.
Real quick question. And I think I know the answer. If Brady wins, obviously, now that puts him at 10, right? 10 appearances, he'll have 7, which is one more than Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd be the GOAT of all leagues, right? Does he come back? He still has one more year in his contract. Now, I know a lot of people said they think he comes back, but does he have any inkling to ride off in the sunset? And
he's not.
Or you think he's coming back either way?
Let me tell you, I've been having a lot of these conversations. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'm Brady's gonna win it and he's gonna ride off into the sunset." But truth be told, man, like the kind of guy Brady is, I think he's such a competitor.
Yep.
He'll put himself in a position where, guys, I can't quit. Let me finish it out. I'll sign a 2-year commitment. I gave you guys 2 years. Let me give you guys these 2 years. Let's try to get everybody back and do it one more time. We know we're gonna ride off into the sunset after that. But let me go ahead and give you guys 2 years. That was my commitment to you. I'm going to honor that commitment. I think that he's that type of guy.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it makes sense.
Absolutely
and people will take less money, obviously, if they have to be able, making it to the Super Bowl. And I'm not sure exactly, contract wise what shape we're in, but I know there's going to be a little work to do. So, but
it's going to be a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
Ryan will tell you.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be.
Is this Levante's last year, Ron?
Ron, go ahead. Eric, would you ask Ron?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I was asking, what's Levante's contract? Is this the last year? In his,
he'll be a free agent after this season. I think the biggest thing right now, from a number standpoint, is that the salary cap that was projected last year before the whole COVID thing, started. It was projected at about $215 million. Okay. Now we're in a position where obviously fans in the stands, concessions, this, that, and the other. It's projected to probably be no lower than 175. Okay. But it can go upward. I think it'll go upward towards 180, 185. So what that does, it kind of puts a lot of teams that were right there on the edge in terms of cap space. It puts them in a difficult situation in terms of these big contracts that they already have on their books. Okay. For example, I think that Tampa Bay has a lot of work to do. I think that the Atlanta Falcons has a lot of work to do. Who else off the top of my head?
Well, I know the Saints do. There's supposedly some $100 million over the cap.
They're strapped.
Well, Al and Ron, I'll tell you firsthand. I've talked to a guy who's on the roster currently, and what he told me is that they're looking for guys like him and other players that have these lower contracts that they're trying to keep, and there is going to be some serious moves coming in these next couple of months.
You hit it right on the head. You hit it right on the head. I talk to these contract guys all the time. I just came back from the Senior Bowl, and everybody who has major cap issues, I think these are the positions that they're going to be in, and you got to make some decisions about what you want to do. Do you want a guy to take, do a restructure? Do you have to let a guy go? A lot of your premier players, how do you handle those guys? So they're going to really have to get creative during this process to be able to keep guys like Shaq Barrett, Chris Godwin, Vontae. You want to re-sign Gronk. Antonio Brown, you got Leonard Fournette. You got a lot of guys that you got to look at and say, yo, we want to make another run, but how can we do this financially? I think Mike Greenberg's got to get really creative.
He's got his homework ahead of him.
Yeah, I heard they're about 28 million under what they seem to think the cap is going to be. And at first glance, especially compared to New Orleans, who's 100 over, right. You're thinking, well, they have some things that they can do here. But that 28 million gets eaten up in a hurry if you go out and sign Shaq Barrett for market value.
Right.
So they have some real, and if there's anyone that deserves a contract right now, it's Levante David. So, everyone's going to have to look at this and see, how do we really make this work?
Right.
How does this really come together?
Right.
And quite honestly, this offseason is going to be one of the most, if not the most interesting offseason in the history of the NFL. It has to be. And so, it'll be fascinating stuff.
Definitely.
Ron, I got a question for you. What do you play so much in this rumor to this Chris Godwin to the Patriots? Patriots allegedly offering $78 million. Can you shed some light? Can the offer actually be made right now? Can there be some of these talks like that?
Listen, I got 2 words for you. Hell no. Hell no. I don't know if somebody put that out there to kind of put pressure on the Buccaneers and try to figure out how to get something done. But guys, if a guy's still on the roster, you can't make any type of offers. I haven't seen that done at all. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've never seen anybody come out publicly and say, hey, a team is going to offer a guy X amount of dollars. Now, especially if a guy's still playing,
right,
for that current team. So there's still so much that can happen in that situation. The Buccaneers can look at it and say, hey, we're going to slap a tag on him. We're going to tag him.
Yep.
Okay. Now we control his rights. So, and then we'll figure it out from there. But I think that whoever put that rumor out there, there's really only two guys that I trust who may be able to give you the facts behind that whole thing. But if it didn't come from them, then I think it's a bunch of crap.
I think Belichick put it out there.
It could be. It's Ghost Profile.
Yeah, he's going. I'm pissed about this Brady thing. I'm gonna make it tough on these guys. I'm pissed about Brady.
Yeah.
So I'll put that out there. I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't honestly, man. The way Bill operates, man. I actually just talked to him last week, and Bill's the type of guy, man. Like, he has a plan. He always has a plan. If he's going to call you and ask you about a player or about their services, X, Y, and Z, he already knows how he's going to use the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, he's just signing them because, hey, we know what we play this team next week, and this guy used to be on that roster, and now we want to be able to pick his brain to see what he knows, and then we're going to cut him after that game. At least he knows that's his plan. So he's not just getting the guy for whatever reason.
Right. Yep.
Who do you think his quarterback will be?
Ooh.
I think it depends on what happens in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was wondering there as well. That's gonna be interesting.
Because I would agree. I would agree with that entirely, because I think if he could handpick whoever he wanted, that he'd want to bring Garoppolo back because he has more of a comfort level with him than anybody else out there.
100%. 100%. I think when they got rid of Jimmy, it was more about the successor in terms of Brady. Brady kind of felt like he might be pushed out. So, hey, let's make this deal happen. Let's get the kid out of here. But I think that, like you said, I think that somebody that you're familiar with, somebody that knows your system, somebody who has been behind Brady. I think that, to me, that will be the smartest move by that organization, is to get that guy back. What does San Francisco do with him? There's a lot of speculation there that they can go out and try to trade for Carson Wentz, or I don't know who else is available. What other quarterbacks?
Well, I would think if they have an opportunity, and I know the price tag's high, but these days anything can happen in the National Football League. To me, San Francisco has Matt Ryan written all over him, and because if anyone, he flourished under that head coach,
right? Yes,
and I'm sure that things somehow, some way could be worked out between Ryan and the 49ers, knowing that Shanahan is involved, that something like that could happen. But, there's a lot to happen.
Right.
Between then. But I could see a scenario. Imagine this, come July, all of a sudden, because there's going to be a lot of shuffling going on.
A lot of movement.
And, you're going to have Stafford with the Rams. Right. I think you could easily see, the 49ers sending Jimmy G to the Patriots and Matt Ryan coming to San Francisco.
Yep.
You got a great point, man.
And there are other, and let's not forget, I know, and this is what I heard with, when I heard that Sean Payton had come out and said, no, we want Jameis. We want Jameis here. We want to make this work. We've seen him all year and this and that and all that stuff. Jameis, we couldn't have enough to say, good things to say about Jameis.
Right.
Jameis isn't out of the equation on any of this stuff, and he went to grad school this year. And to really learn about what playing quarterback is all about. So that's what this year was for Jameis. Now, how he comes out and learns from that, I don't know. But, there's going to be someone out there that'll throw some decent money at him. and probably more than what the Saints can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sean Payton, in saying he wants Jameis back, is simply buttering the bread, saying, okay, I know I can't pay you 28 mil or 25 mil or even 20 mil, but I could pay you a lot less than that and still make it worth your while. And I think Jameis is going to be very much in the quarterback picture. And I think, come July, the quarterback picture around the National Football League is going to look a whole lot different than what it looks like right now.
Listen, so tell me this: if Breeze doesn't retire, what do you do then?
I think they let. I mean, to me,
you think it's a possibility that he may not retire? You think? I mean, I know he said obviously he wanted to, and everyone saw the clip of him, in tears. Basically, he patted Jameis Winston on the jersey and said, "This is your team now."
He did.
But
he did.
It's one thing to say that. We've seen that before, right? I mean, obviously Brett Favre. Who else? I mean, there's been a few that have done it, but Brett Favre is the one that I remember the most. And that happened every year. Brett Favre was retiring every year for like a decade.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, I mean, and I've always been a Breeze fan. I mean, the guy, he just, being undersized and being doubted like he was, and I mean, really, he played at a whole nother level. But to make it as far as they have, back to back like that, and to just be so close, it makes you wonder: does he have a change of heart?
Well, I think, we forget how much families have to do with all this.
Yes.
And when you look at how badly he was beaten up, what was it? After the Buccaneer game, he had how many ribs
12.
that were cracked? And I mean, Mrs. Breeze and the kids have to deal with this every bit as much.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, what have we heard from Brady? That, Brady's family has left him alone for the better part of 12 days.
Correct.
To let him completely, focus on what he needs to do. So family, we forget we've got families involved here.
Right.
And it would not surprise me if, the Breeze family said, enough. You've had an incredible career.
Let me make a quick point. I have a player that also plays for the Saints, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, listen, man. What do you think happens with Breeze?" And he says, "Well, he took that walk. He took that walk in terms of the stadium, and the guys saw him take that walk, and he's been there. My client's been there. He was drafted there. He's played 11 years in the league. He said he had that look in his eye, like, hey, this is it. This is it. But for him not to come out and say it yet, it still gives you that little ray of, hey, the possibility that I'm such a competitor that I'm not ready to hang it up yet. So then I think the Saints have a decision to make. Do they force him to retire to start this rebuild? Well, this new process with this new quarterback. Like, what do you do there as an organization?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be shocked if he comes back. Absolutely shocked, because what's in it for him? He doesn't need a payday. There isn't a payday to be had.
Right.
And so, he's number 2 all time in just about every category.
Everything. Yeah.
And so really, what's in it for him to do it? And I don't see the Saints, because their cap situation,
right, being
able to really build a team around him to where he can make an honest run at it.
Especially the defense is going to take a hit.
So I just, I mean, how easy is it to fall from there into a, studio job with NBC where you're still involved with the game?
Yeah.
Right.
You still prepare for Sunday, but Sunday night, you're not bleeding anywhere.
You're not getting beat up.
Yeah.
There's
no McRibs going on.
Yeah. So
when that happened too, those ribs, that rib shot was, I forget, what team was that against, Al?
He just got crushed under the D-line.
I don't remember who that was. I don't remember who it was that fell on him when he broke those ribs.
Was it
Chicago?
Yeah, possibly. Yep.
good grief. When that happened, I just knew as soon as that happened, I said, oh my gosh, man. That guy was every bit of 325 pounds. It seemed like every other day they were announcing another 2 or 3 ribs that were broken. It started with a couple, and then and I don't know if anybody's ever broken any ribs, but that's not fun. As you got to think about throwing, moving, and I was
breathing.
Yeah, breathing. Step one. Breathing. Step one, breathing. Hey, Eric, I want to cut you off. I know Ron's got to go. I want to let Ron get in here and give his final thoughts if he wants to give a Super Bowl prediction and let everybody know about your agency and what you got going on and all the rookies you got coming on.
Absolutely. I appreciate, like always, I appreciate you bringing me on, man. This has been an exciting ride these last couple of weeks. My agency, it's called Agency One Athlete Management Group. We're based out of South Florida. We represent some good quality players. Currently represent about 30 guys right now. Collectively, we're at about close to 40 guys. It's become a little bit bigger over the last, I want to say, 2 months, but excited in terms of the future. You can catch us at agency1sports.com is our website. And on Instagram, it's Agency One Athlete Management Group. Prediction wise, I'm gonna go 38. I'm gonna go 38-35.
That's some big scores. It could possibly be that way.
Bucks, right?
We're gonna go 38-35, and I think this will be a monumental moment for the Tampa Bay organization, for what they've been able to put together this year. But I'm going 38-35 Tampa Bay.
There it is, 38-35. Ron, appreciate you coming on. Hope you have a great day. I know I will. It's my birthday, so I'm gonna get out there.
Happy birthday, my man.
Appreciate that.
I'm actually getting ready to go catch a flight, and looking forward to Sunday's game. And this will be one that we definitely want to talk about.
You coming to Tampa?
I'm coming to Tampa.
Oh, good deal.
I'll be at the game.
If you need any help with your clients about media stuff,
okay, absolutely,
let me know. Coaching, media coaching, how to speak to the media.
Definitely.
Guys that want to go on TV, guys that, want to go into that line when they're done, let me know, because I've worked with a lot of athletes.
Listen, let me make sure I get your information from Blake. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. And we're going to get I know you guys definitely do a great job, and I appreciate you having me on, man. So looking forward to a good Sunday, and I'm hoping that the Bucks are victorious.
Good deal.
Good deal.
Absolutely.
Stay in touch, Ron. Look forward to seeing you when you come down here.
Will do. I'll give you a buzz.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my man.
Yep. There we go. Ron Butler, everybody. Oh, man. So he said 38-35 Bucks. That's what you predicted, Al. He said possibly a shootout. That sounds like a shootout in that game. I'm just hoping the Buccaneers get some turnovers. I'm looking forward to see Levante David get some of his famous strips in, as long as with Devin White, because it's going to be pretty hard to stop this Chiefs offense. It's going to be tough as nails to stop them. They could score, like you said, at the drop of a dime, at the drop of a hat. And I think turnovers are going to be huge in this game, and getting points off turnovers, not just turnovers, points off turnovers.
Here's my prediction. It'll be 48-45 Buccaneers, and the MVP in this game, when you're talking 48-45 in a game like this, I think, believe it or not, the MVP in this game will be Devin White. He will make a play. He will make a play late. He will make some plays in that second half that'll turn the tide. And it'll be such a difference that even though you would think 48-45 Buccaneers, if they're scoring those kind of points, that it's got to be the MVP's got to be Tom Brady. But I think, and what the fat do I know?
Right.
But it sounds good, and no one else will come up with that same prediction. So 48, $45 MVP, Devin White.
Eric, what you got?
I'm going to go ahead and trust. I'm going to go ahead and trust whatever Al says. Al knows this a lot better than I do, But I'm just looking at. We're going to have a hell of a game. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it. What an exciting year! A lot of ups, a lot of downs. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason. And guess what? We're in the Super Bowl, and we're in the first Super Bowl at home. So let's ride that wave. But you're kicking ass, brother. Can't say enough about you. Great talking to you, Al. If anybody is out there looking to qualify for their medical marijuana card, state of Florida has 50 plus qualifying conditions. The home of the no hassle, judgment-free cannabis card evaluation. You can find us at mycannabiscard.com. You could reach us at 1-833-4MMJ-DOC. 1-833-466-5362. Wrap it up by saying go Bucks.
There you go. I guess I'm last. I got to go with the score prediction. So you said 48-45. Ron said 38-35. I have to go. This number comes to my head. 30-35 Tampa Bay. That's what comes to my head. 30-35.
That's good. It's going to be a game like we've never seen. We will never see a game like this again. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch.
And definitely. And it was definitely fun spending this time with you, Al, coming on here, dropping your knowledge as always. I'm always going to be a student to this broadcast, to try to learn as much as I can and take insights from everybody, because that's what I love to do, and learn as much as I can in this game. And no other than learning from an Emmy-winning guy as yourself with your repertoire. I won't go into the years of service because we know how young you are. So, and you want to plug yourself in, so what everybody else got to look into for on your way out?
Well, again, Sunday on the Bone, 102.5, 10 o'clock, a great way to get you ready for Super Bowl 55 in Tampa. Again, my guest will be Doug Williams with an incredible interview, and you won't want to miss it.
Nope, we won't. I appreciate you jumping on. We'll do it again.
Sounds good. Anytime, Blake.
Yes, sir. Have a good day, Al.
Okay.
There it is, the gang. We had everybody here. Talked about all types of football, stories, experience. Ron Butler, Eric, Deshaun down here in the comments section. Deshaun, I don't know if you want to get on real quick and drop your prediction in, and then we'll get out of here. I'll send you the link real quick if you want to. If that's what you want to do. Yeah, guys, it should be an exciting Super Bowl. I'll be in attendance. I'm looking forward to seeing Ron. Didn't know Ron was showing up to the game, so I've talked to Ron for so long, and you guys have seen Ron on my shows for so long. So it's gonna be a great time, and we're gonna enjoy the most of it. And I'm gonna enjoy my birthday today. I definitely want to get something to eat here, and I appreciate everybody that gave me birthday shout outs and everything. And I appreciate everybody that I've worked with doing this since 2015. Man, I've been doing this since 2015. And here we are at the end of another season, 5 years. And I remember my first video was just god awful. I don't even want to show it. It's just so awful. Oh, we got Deshaun on here. I know he wants to get in and put his 2 cents in. Deshaun, what's going on from Deshaun's 411? What's good?
Hey, what's up, Blake? Man? Happy birthday to you, man.
Appreciate it.
Hey, man, I was in this comment, dude. You lucky I wasn't no troller, and I was with the cause, but I was in those comments hard the whole time. You saw me.
Yep, I see you. You always are going hard.
Tell Ron I want one of them 5'4" hats, bro. I'm gonna shoot the address.
That was pretty sick, wasn't it? He gonna sit there and tease us with it, right?
I'm like, where you get that hat from, bro? You know I'm about hats. You see how I be switching hats. So I'm looking. I'm like, dude, he got a 5'4". Because I was one time I saw Levante like promoting his own brand, but I never really saw it catch that traction. So just in case they got the warehouse or something, Ron, hey, put it out here, you know what I'm saying?
Slide your boy something.
Slide your boy something, you know what I'm saying? I'm even willing to shoot the cash app to you, know what I'm saying? That's not even something I could find anywhere, so I was like, dude, he got that Vontae hat on? Look at that. And I was like, and he just slid on that. Now, today it was different with Ron Because normally we see all the other stuff in the background, and the other jerseys.
He saw what he did.
No,
he had his
Super
Miami.
Bowl.
He had his Miami collage in the back. I said, I seen what he was doing today.
Look, I was catching what you was putting down, but dude, I was over here also dying with Al. You, a couple of those comments in there. I was like, yeah, Blake ain't gonna read those comments because it's so out of context as they go on. But I was laughing over here, man. It was a couple of jokes that I was like, dude, what? It was definitely going off, man. Awesome show, man. I love it, man. Absolutely love it. It's a couple of pieces, man. Listen, what Al said about Devin White, hands down, this young man has done the best job. Talking about he's missed one playoff game. He leads the league right now, leading the NFL in tackles in the playoffs, and he's missed one playoff game. Like, he's phenomenal. He was definitely a Pro Bowl snub. And I said it on the show the other night. I said it on my show yesterday. I said, listen, you don't get announcers in the NFL to say that a player was snubbed unless it's just so blatant and the player's just then playing so phenomenal that they can't disregard. Like, because when they start throwing his numbers out there, they gotta then, hit the, well, he got snubbed, because I can't tell you this guy's got this many tackles, this many sacks, interceptions, fumble recoveries. Then I'm watching a game where he currently has 15 tackles, currently has 16 tackles, and then be like, yeah, they only got one Pro Bowler on the team. Well, guess what? We'll go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, one Pro Bowler on the team.
Rub it
in their face. You.
Rub it in their face. Rub it in their face after that Super Bowl. Rub it in their face, because it's disgusting. 9 sacks, 9 freaking sacks, 15 tackles, leading the league in tackles. If it was anybody else, this wouldn't be a question.
This is one of those situations where you arguing, and we talk football and basketball here on Sports Talk 49. I know we skipping the basketball a little bit, but when you arguing with your boy about basketball, you like, get your mans. Get your mans. Where's the mans at? Get your man. Like, listen, where's Bobby Wagner at right now? Where he at? Where he at? Even when it was Levante, it was like, okay, I see you, Luke. You do what you do. You coming out.
You can't argue, Luke.
You couldn't argue Luke. He was very much flagship, right? Mm-hmm. He very much had that flagship. Levante's never really been our flagship. He's always Robin. He's never Batman in this scenario. Right. So the issues. One of the questions I did have for Ron, I can't wait till next time you come on with him, because I was like, listen, okay, and I know it's going to be at that point, it's going to be Super Bowl winner Levante David. But my question for him really was, what contract are we going for? Are we going for the ride off into the sunset contract? Because Levante has definitely kept his body well. He's not even at the point where he's Kevin Minter yet. He's still, I can go somewhere else and play another 2, possibly 3 years, depending on what we're seeing from him. And then he can be Kevin Minter, which is a definitely a piece. He might not have the same speed, so he's going to limit his abilities. But this dude could potentially play another 6 years based on what we see out of him, right? What we currently see. That's barring any injury and things of that nature. He clearly seems to keep his body well. His nose is clean. He's never had any off-the-field issues or anybody to talk about. So you can only wish and foresee the best for him, but I'm like, dude, we start looking at, I'm like, what contract? Is he going for the ride off into the sunset contract, or is he going for, because that comes down to him too. Yeah. Oh, will he give we talk about the offensive side of the pieces over there. Is Levante going to bang him in the head? He going to hit him in the head 15, 10, 12, 13? That's a number that you're trying to go again. You don't want to bring in another linebacker. You want to work with the same guy. Yep. And really what you're selling is, we're going to the Super Bowl again. That's what the VA said it the best. The goal is to win this one and win another one. He knows Brady's on contract. I'm not even talking about Brady. I don't know why people are always talking about Brady walking. He's not walking away. He signed a 2-year deal for a reason. That guy. That's not who he is. There's nothing about his attitude, his mannerisms, everything. I think after 2 years, he walks and it's family time. That's it. And it was important what you guys spoke about today about family time and how that affects people in the game. This, at the quarterback position, it is a different level. There's times where Breeze has never been touched. But when he started to get hurt, little fingers and things of that, okay, that's nothing. When you get the ribs broken, your wife looking at you differently. And then you can't pick up your little baby. You can't pick up your little baby. It's a problem lifting. Oh, no, hold on. babe, maybe we need to, because we got money.
Yeah, that's not an issue.
It's not a money issue. It's not like these players that, I bought my cousin Pookie a car wash, and I invested in these houses on this land that's sinking. It's not that. He's had contract after contract. He's been in the league for a long time. The money is not an issue. They're set. They're good. We know that. And I'm with Al. Dude, it's nothing like these quarterbacks to come out and go into the broadcasting booth if that's something that's for him. Because, shoot, I'd love to hear what he has to say more than Tony Romo.
Yep, and he's won more than Tony Romo.
That's it. And Troy Aikman, listen, I'm hoping. Did they say who's announcing? I know I think they said Gene is calling the game. Gene Deckerhoff, voice of the Bucs. I think he's calling the game, right?
That's gonna be good because Gene Deckerhoff can definitely paint a good picture, and he keeps entertaining. I love that. I love that guy. Sad day whenever he's done with the team because his voice just can't be replicated at all. He
definitely has a signature voice. He does a couple of colleges as well, so I've seen him on the plane. I actually got a picture on my page where I post up, and we were coming from the Falcons game. I flew down. We were both going to the airport, so me and him are in the tunnel, and are in the train here in Atlanta. You got to get on a train to get to the different ports inside the airport or whatever. And he's not a recognizable person if you don't know who he is. You gotta be a fan. Pretty much you're one of us. You're more fanatical for you to just be like, yo, that's Gene. He ain't wearing no big Bucks gear or nothing like that. He's got his members only jacket on. You'll never pick him out of the crowd, But I'm like, yo, it's Gene. I was like, hey, Gene, what's up, man? Take pictures. And dude, awesome to talk to. Find out that, hey, he's down here. He does 2 or 3 colleges that he, smaller schools that he do their games as well. So he's doing like Friday for some schools. He's doing Saturday. Then he's coming doing the Bucs. Awesome. I mean, like you said, voice. He's definitely going to talk it up. And I mean, if you had to represent the Bucs, someone had to call a game for the Buccaneers. He is definitely the color person that I want to be calling that game and giving us just analyzing and calling it, because he's going to make that a true Tampa Bay Super Bowl the way that he's going to announce it and stuff. So that's also going to be phenomenal for me, man. The show, like Al said, hey, man, you're the one for me. The show's great. You're always putting out stuff here. We're ready for Super Bowl. You're giving us everything. And then I see on your page that you're going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, no way, bro. I'm like, I just looked at it and I was like, this, what, right? I'm like, but for purposes, I'm like, this dude right here.
Right.
What? I'm like, I'm like, dude, that's beyond happy just for somebody else to get it elated. Like I was talking to my wife, like, babe, you get any Super Bowl tickets? You sure? You ain't checked with nobody if you got any tickets. She was like, but we're not even in Florida, babe. I'm like, they flying people out. I see, because I saw the Patriots. I saw the Patriots playing. They're flying people down. I was like, babe, you sure? Did you ask? You told them you were a Tampa fan, right? I was like, you told them you were a Tampa fan, right? I was like, if you know how to tell them. So here's my thing, guys. You're a Tampa fan. You watching the show. You watch the replay. Listen, when you see these Tampa fans out here, I know a lot of fans that here in Atlanta, they just wear hats to match shoes. I know that. They're not less every fans. And of course, we got tons more bandwagon people with us now. And I don't have any issue with bandwagoners. I'm fine with you. Because I know immediately if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, if you've been to the games, or you're just somebody that kind of casually likes us from the outside. And I do the game thing. When I park on the street or I park in the yellow parking lot and we do some tailgating or something like that. But when we go into the game, when we're sitting at lower level, and when it comes around and it's all like, Tampa, hey, and everybody's going crazy. Dude, I see Tampa fans and I'm like, I see them, they see the jersey. I usually got a hat or some type of paraphernalia on. It's flags on my truck and bumper stickers, tailgate, hitch, front plate, all that crap. And, I'm like, when I see them, I just hit them with they see me, I'm a big dude, you can't miss me. So I got red on now. So I'm like, I see them, I'm like, Tampa. And then they don't give me a response and I'll be like,
yeah, you already know.
Dude, hit the bay, bro. You know what it is. Hey, man, but awesome show, man. I'm ready for the Super Bowl. Definitely pumped. I'm gonna be on. And I was listening to dudes this morning on a podcast. Just because I'm in the mode right now. I'm feeling it, man. I'm ready for the game. And listen, the best part of this game for me right now as a Buccaneer fan is I cannot, and I think a lot of Buccaneer fans, if they're true to it, they probably feel this way. There's no lose in this game for us. We've been down so long. Just to get into the playoffs is already a win. NFC Championship, already a win.
Yep.
This year, to be honest with you, the pinnacle was the NFC Championship. I said it before. I felt like Bruce B.A. alluded to it. It's a hat and t-shirt game. That's what it was. We got the pinnacle. This is the icing. This is the cream on top. This is the happy ending, if you will. This is the other extra over and beyond. So, if we lose the game, I'm still a Tampa fan. I don't jump ship. I ain't burning no jerseys. No. I pay for these jerseys. And guess what? Because I'm like, listen, we made it here. And when I walk around, where was the Falcons at? Yep. So I don't feel away because it's still Tampa all day. I'm still gonna fire those cannons. It's still gonna be go Bucks. And but the good part about it is have no fear in losing. We coming in, we're the underdog, and we'll just play that role. And I'm like, dude, we match up really well. For every weapon that they have, we have a weapon on our side. For everything that you can talk about for them, you can talk about for us. But I think when we start talking about the defense and the play, and me and Misador have been talking about playing as 2-man under to try and defend over top with Tyreek Hill, and then also have the linebackers covering a man underneath. And you spoke about it as well. And I was saying, hey, when you look at the Patriots and the way that the Patriots play, well, when the Patriots played Kelsey, they bullying him, dude. Right. They played super physical with him, and it doesn't stop him. It definitely limits him. He's a little bit timid when you bully him. Now, if he's just running free, you're gonna eat your tail. You're gonna eat your tail alive. You know what I'm saying? But when you press him up, bully him on the line, get physical with him, and I feel like the only two people that we have that are roaming underneath here that are really gonna worry about backs out the backfield and tight ends are Levante David and Devin White. And who else would we have? We got safeties that come downhill, do their work. They're gonna play. Now they gotta stay back because Tyreek Hill's gonna get it back. Sammy Watkins and things of that nature. It's not no disrespect to them. But dude, Carlton Davis is rated number 2 corner in the league, and we kind of discount it. Correct. Jamel Dean's actually been playing better than Carlton Davis.
Yep, they've been throwing at him. Dean's been quiet. They didn't throw at him.
And when they do throw the short, because they won't throw long, when they do throw short at him, he's coming up and sticking. And I'll tell you one thing: this secondary right now has really impressed me with their physicality. Now we look at stuff and Carlton Davis is getting beat, pressed off the line. He presses fairly decent. He does get beat off the line, several times where he's a little bit dragging his feet a little bit. He's just someone that most of the time that's happening for me is that it's happening on him when we're impressed a little bit too long. You have to rotate things in the NFL. But there's a thing that I'm going to tell you this, and I'll get off. I know you may have some stuff to do. I want you to be able to enjoy your day. But I've watched this with Andy Reid. You saw it in the Bills game. When they take away Tyreek Hill from going deep, you'll set him out there. He'll run those comebacks to the outside. He'll run a little screens with him, try and get that short yardage. Nothing different from what he did with Deshaun Jackson with the Eagles.
Yep.
This is who he is. There's enough film on Andy Reid and his offense and his mindset and his offensive schemes to do it. And I'll tell you one thing. People give Andy Reid a lot of respect. Well, it's all about the wins. B.A. and Andy Reid are very much so similar. They're not exactly the same, but they're particularly similar in this scheme, very much no risk it, no biscuit. And Andy Reid, when you take that away from him, he goes to that short game. And I feel like we can play with that short game because we're going to be impressed and we're very physical there. Our corners get off blocks. And when teams try to screen us from a corner perspective, we have given them fits, even with depth. You saw Cockrell do it the other week. So we're talking about, he ain't even starting. He does it. That's a scheme fit. We play well against that. So I'm just elated to see it. Oh wait, sidebar. I just thought, hey Rasul, I got you tonight. So let's go. Hit the chat. Let me know when you want to go, bro. It just thought when I said scheme fit, I thought my wide receiver that I just picked up, and I said scheme fit. You know who I got tonight? Hey, let's go. Let's get it, bro. In this league today, Madden, you know what it is.
Take it easy on him.
Yeah, listen, I'm just trying to do what I do. I don't want to get kicked out. I'm just trying to do what I do. but aside from that, man, I'm so happy about the game, man. Happy about what you do, what you bring to the show, Blake. You've been awesome. And I just think that this Tampa team is going to come out here, pull up a win. I'm a little bit different from you guys. I think that the Buccaneers are going to come out and play playoff football as we know it. Nothing new, nothing different. Doesn't really matter what the Chiefs do because Tampa's going to come out and, like Ron said, I think they're going to play balanced, but I think they're going to play more Brady. And Brady is very much whatever you give me.
Yep.
You want to take deep away? I'll take mid. We got we have somebody for everything. And this is not a Chiefs defense that to me looks phenomenal. I am concerned, and me and Miso had this conversation earlier this morning. I'm concerned about Jones there, and I'm concerned about Jensen because I feel like what Jones is going to do, and I watched him do it with the Bills. He's pushing after. He's an antagonist, And Jensen, he likes to be a knight in shining armor. You pushing somebody, he's pushing back. If there was a line there, he's gonna cross it. Yeah. So I can see Jones doing that from the Chiefs' perspective, and I can see Jensen responding back to the echo of the whistle. So now, granted, if they both get kicked out, they cancel each other out, and it's a done deal. But we don't want that going, the wrong way. Now, with that being said, Jensen has been a man amongst boys in this playoffs, getting linebackers, getting to the next level, mauling them. People are really not putting this Tampa Bay offensive line and giving them the respect that they have. And I'll say it right now, and I'll continue to say it until we win this game on Sunday night. And I'll even say it then. Listen, regular season Donovan Smith clearly ain't playoff Donovan Smith.
Nope,
so I guess it's just that we were never in the playoffs and it never didn't matter. There's some people that, they work in the fourth quarter when it matters. They can't really find the reason that they should go hard until it really matters. But since it's mattered, that man has been playing phenomenal. And you talk about our first round draft pick with Tristan Wirfs.
The bouncer.
He's a monster. But I was watching his highlights because people are posting so much stuff about the Bucs. I'm watching this dude just block everybody. Dude, when Bosa comes on and talks about that you're going to be a Pro Bowler because of the way you were blocking him, and when you look at the way he dealt with Bosa, he was mad. Dude, he looked like Bosa was a rookie. Like he was doing Bosa like you the rookie. I don't think he even had any pressure, and head down, just phenomenal athlete. And imagine how much better he's going to get because he definitely faced the murderer's row this year of people that he's going to go against. Any lesser talent, it's a mute point for him. So I expect to see Fournette come out this time that we've had this 2 weeks. I don't anticipate any issues out of Ronald Jones. He should be fully healthy, barring anything that would have happened in practice. I had no feeling at all that we weren't going to have, full strength out of everybody being here. Obviously, we won't have Kappa and OJ, but, those are, just injuries that couldn't come back from. But I just absolutely know. I'm like, dude, if I'm on that team, just like you guys were saying with COVID, if I'm on this team, I don't care what this injury is. You can give me a shot in my knee, my back, my wrist, my finger. I don't care where you got to give me a shot at, but I'm getting out there. I ain't missing the Super Bowl, and I'm not missing that Super Bowl check either. Just like AB.
That's
AB
right.
getting that extra what, $750,000 just for being in the Super Bowl? He wasn't about to miss that check. Everything was going to be okay on him. If he had to fall out there on the first play, he was going to be okay because he's still getting that check once he's out there. So absolutely phenomenal. Hey, here's a pick for me. And I'm kind of loose with it. I was thinking more of a 38-21 Tampa. The Chiefs are going to score. We know that.
Yep.
The main aspect of the game that people have not really heard many shows talking about for me, and I'm probably going to push this and talk about it the next couple of shows until the game is the special teams aspect. Offensively and defensively, we're going to play. But against the Saints, we were getting a butthole tore open on kick returns, punt returns, and we need players out there because that looked horrible.
Yes.
And unless we're going to have touchbacks every time, if you kick that ball in bounds, we look like we can't cover it. And we can't have that because they'll sit if they get in trouble, they'll sit Tyreek Hill back there and just say, let's go. And we know what he can do. Now, granted, the hit's going to be happening. Don't know how our Clyde Edwards-Helaire will affect us. We generally stop the run. I don't anticipate us not being able to stop the run. There's nothing they're going to do that's going to solidify that, especially since we're full strength. And another 2 weeks right now with Vita, dude, he's about to just be between. And see, even Sue knows that with Vita next to him, it's a difference. And we talked about it, me and you, before. Listen, Nacho is just not Vita. What he does and his intensity, you ain't going to tell me that Nacho was running back in high school. I know he wasn't, but Vita was. And I'm like, dude, that's a different type of big man. Like, there's big men that move like Sue, and there's big men that move like Vita, and I just think that he's just a different type of beast. As long as we have him, as soon as he came back, our outside rushes are all of a sudden again phenomenal.
It was night and day.
As he came back. But prior to that, we were dropping Shaq back and only rushing the 4 and only couldn't get there. Soon as he came back. And now we're talking about we're going to have those same rushers against backup linemen. You a backup, you're a backup. That's just what it is. Now, some of you can be serviceable. We got a backup starting right now with Finney. He's definitely going to be serviceable. He's doing what he needs to do. But when you're a tackle and you can be made to be on the island by yourself, that don't work. Like how I go in the song? Nope. That don't work, man. That don't work. So I definitely got it at 38-21. They're going to get some points. Tampa wins the Super Bowl, makes history once again. I could definitely see some turnovers in this game. Someone said a safety. I'm like, hell no, ain't me a safety. I can't see a safety on our side. But what I could see is I can see an interception or two. There's going to be some excitement. It's still the NFL. I know the script isn't written yet for us, but I definitely would see. I'm seeing the score more of a 38-21. I say they get 3 touches, but we best them. And I think we're able to best them by running the ball, burning some clock. I think we actually surprised people with Rojo getting a big run or someone in the running game getting 1 or 2 big runs. I'm looking for a 40 to 60 yard run. I wish I could. I may listen to Harry the Greek and get the line on that. I'm looking for a 40 or 60 yard run in this game out of the Tampa Bay offense. Now that doesn't say you won't get Clyde or somebody on the Chiefs side getting a little skirt, but overall run game, this team is going to stop it. And don't forget, the Chiefs defense is just not highly ranked at the end of the day. They do a lot of scoring and put teams in bad positions. And you can take a mediocre defense, but when a team has to pass because they're down by X number of points, they're one-dimensional. Now a mediocre defense knows what you're doing. They're no longer mediocre. They can now pin the ears back, rush a quarterback, and get there, and then play coverage, sit back there, and just force interceptions. They're not phenomenal. But when you got to watch the run, which Tampa will definitely do in this game, and the way that we've been playing the playoffs, it's going to be a phenomenal game on Sunday, man. I hope you enjoy it and just have, lifetime experience, bro. I don't know if you got a bucket list, but this definitely had to be on it if you was.
Yeah, it is.
So, awesome experience for you, man. Great to be able to come on the show and you take the time, man. Once again, man, just thanks for having me. And hey, let me just hit a plug. Hey, I'm Deshaun from Deshaun's 401 on Bucks Report, 7 p.m. on Thursdays. So come check me out. Always great. Yep, there we go. Check me out, 411 Bucks Report. And of course, you got your man right here, Sports Talk 49's own Blake Anthony. Awesome dude, even better commentator and host here, right on the Bucks Report and on Sports Talk 49. And also I see here, what is it, NSN Network?
Yep.
All right, man. Awesome, man. So awesome for having me. I'm gonna jump off and listen to the end of the show here. But man, this was a show today. There's some comments on here that had me laughing, and it was definitely about accessories.
He's a fool.
Go Bucks, man. Fire them cannons. You know what it is.
Yep. All right, Deshaun. There's only one thing left to do. And it's as we always do. You're the master of everything. What you do with your life, what you do with it is entirely up to you. Appreciate you guys all year long. 2015, still doing it, trying to get better each time. These shows ain't nothing without you guys. I appreciate it. This is Blake Anthony signing off for 2020. Take it easy, guys.
I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. Even we heal as a team, we're going to come. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now. We can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time.
What the man you will fight for? Just everything you got today, not because of the scoreboard, but because when this game ends, you'll have a brother to call for life. Knowing you gave everything you had. And I'm gonna make the play or I'm gonna watch the play be made. It's simple. Fight your fight. It's our fight to fight.